I just built my very own functional Spider-Man web shooters. And the best part, they shoot real webs. So in this video, we're going to cover how I made the actual web fluid, and then we're going to talk about the prototyping stage as well as the setbacks, because it wouldn't be a Plentiful Props video without them. Plus, we'll take a look at how I built the final versions of the web shooters, and then you guys will get to see it in action. But Nick, I hear you saying through my camera, why make web shooters in the first place? Well, you see a fictional person I just made up in my head. I mean, it could be voices in my head too. Yeah. The reason is there's a brand new Spider-Man movie coming out. So if I post a Spider-Man related project, then maybe, just maybe, I can leech off the hype and potentially get the algorithm to bless me with views. Maybe. But also, I've just always liked Spider-Man. And as proof, here's a picture of Baby Nick with his Spidey mask all stanced up. And as a kid, I used to have the Spider-Man 2 web shooters, and my parents just never allowed me to get the refills for those, which I'm totally not bitter about. Also, they're just silly string, so who cares? They're not even that cool. I don't care. It's fine. Point being, I've been wanting to make my own web shooters for a very long time now. I just never knew how exactly to make them. But really recently, this guy on Instagram called Certified Thwip started sharing reels of his homemade web shooters. And in these clips, you can see him shooting really cool spiderweb-like strands. And on top of that, he actually shared the recipe to make this web fluid. And it's super easy.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
So I figured I'd toss my hat into the ring and make my very own web shooters using the same web fluid recipe and the same nasal spray as the delivery mechanism. But before I start designing my own web shooter, I need to conquer two different problems. Number one, I need to figure out how to make the web fluid itself. And number two, how to mechanically activate the nasal spray pump. I'm sure that'll balance out the 2 coffees I just had. So you would think that the web fluid would be the easy part of this video, given how Certified Thwip literally shared the recipe online, and it's just 1 part of Fabri-Tac and 2 parts acetone. But here's the thing, I'm both dumb and Canadian. And when I first did my research into Fabri-Tac online, I found 0 results for Fabri-Tac in Canada. So instead of trying to find a source for Fabri-Tac, I just went down this weird rabbit hole of just buying glue after glue after glue after glue. And by the end of this, it didn't even matter if it was fabric glue or not. If it was goopy, I was using it. So I ended up using 6 different glues, easily $100 worth of glues. And none of them worked. Some of them almost worked, but some of them I just shouldn't have tested. In one case, it created like a sludge that I can only describe as melted marshmallows. I think I just created sentient life or something. What is this? Like, this is literally just goop. And the other one just ended up resembling like a bodily fluid I can't even bring up on my YouTube channel. So after all that struggle, I went to my local fabric land, and they had an entire section of just Fabri-Tac products. So I guess the lesson here is support local retailers, I don't know. But now that we finally have the right glue, I can finally mix up my own batch using a glass beaker and give it a try in one of my nasal spray bottles. And the results are pretty cool, especially outdoors where the webs can catch the wind and fly around. So that leaves us with the second problem to solve, the actuator for the nasal spray. You see, the problem here is that we're pretty limited when it comes to the amount of space that the mechanism can take up, since, you know, this has to fit on my wrist. Plus, the nasal spray may not look like much, but it does take quite a bit of speed and pressure to properly activate it. And to control this mechanism, I designed my own custom circuit boards with an EDA program and sent over the Gerber files to this channel sponsor, PCBWAY. PCBWAY is the industry leader in PCB manufacturing and 3D printing solutions. From custom circuit boards to innovative 3D printed prototypes, PCBWAY offers unparalleled quality, fast turnaround times, and competitive pricing. Ordering from PCBWAY was as easy as importing my Gerber file and then selecting a few options like my solder mask and silkscreen color before placing my order. And on top of that, I received my PCBs within a week from placing the actual order. So if you're interested in ordering from PCBWAY, use the link in the description for $10 off your first order. Now let's take a look at the prototypes. So I figured I'd start with what I know, and what I know is servos. Servos? Why do I say it like that? Servos. This is an MG. This is an MG90S servo. So the plan was quite simple. Take this servo and attach it to some sort of linear servo mount so that we can attach it to the back of the web shooter and have this linear motion push the nasal spray forward. So future Nick, did that work? Didn't work. Alright, and on my second attempt, I basically did the exact same thing, except I messed around with ratios so that I could increase the torque of the servo. Didn't work. And then I just decided to use N20 motors for some reason. My whole reasoning is these are quite small, and if I could find one with a low enough RPM, then that would translate into a higher torque, which would put it at about the same strength as an MG90S servo, or maybe even stronger. And to transfer the energy of this motor into the system, I basically developed these teeny tiny Scotch yoke mechanisms, which basically works the exact same way as those mounts we made for the MG90S servo. It basically turns the circular motion of the motor into a linear one. Didn't work. So by this point, I'm getting pretty desperate, so I decided to develop my own version of a snail cam. Now, a snail cam, if I understand it correctly, which I probably don't, is a wheel where the radius gets progressively bigger. So as you can see, the sled is at the very bottom here, but as this turns, it starts to move forward, just like that. And then, at this point, it resets. So in practice, it seems like a pretty good mechanism for rapid fire, but didn't work. So now I've done what, 4 attempts, and I'm just about ready to quit. None of this has worked at all, but just as I was ready to throw in the towel, I glanced over at my workbench, and I noticed I have a servo I still haven't tried out yet. Behold, the humble Corona DS239MG. These are thin metal wing servos, and they have a lot of torque. And initially, I bought a few of these because I was planning on using them in some Iron Man helmets I wanted to build, but then I just never built the Iron Man helmets. It's kind of a recurring theme with like half the supplies I own, where I will buy them planning to build something and then just never build that thing. But once in a while, they do come in clutch when I'm looking for solutions to problems. So for this attempt, I decided I would make the mechanism as simple as possible. I took the servo, slapped it onto the back of my test mount, and then I just modified the sled I was using so that it would have a screw at the end of it, and then attached a linkage with a servo horn arm. So the arm is quite literally just pushing right on the sled. And it worked. It was an unmitigated success. I then proceeded to shoot web all over my studio before I realized you really shouldn't do that. In shocking news, if you let glue dry, it then becomes really difficult to clean. I quite literally spent an entire afternoon scraping the floor with isopropyl alcohol and a rag. It was not a good time. So with both of our big hurdles hurdled, isn't the act of jumping over a hurdle hurdling? I don't know. Let me look this up. Hold on. Yeah, no, that's a real verb. Bachelor's in English Lit, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is it's finally time to start working on the final design. Now, there are 2 constraints that we need to keep in mind when designing this final version of the web shooter. And that's the servo mechanism that we're using, since it's going to be in the back here behind our nasal spray. But we also need to keep in mind that this needs to be as small as possible, because again, this needs to fit directly on my wrist. So currently we kind of have a reverse L going here with our nasal spray and our servo. So now we need to figure out where the PCB is going to go and where the battery is going to go. So in this case, I just decided to add the battery directly next to the nasal spray. This way it fills out the web shooter and gets rid of that weird reverse L shape. The only thing left to deal with is the electronics. So we need a kill switch, we need an ESP32 to control everything, and we need a charging module for the battery. This is all going to get mounted to a single PCB, and since the servo we're using is so thin, we can mount the PCB directly over it. So I designed this 3D model that's meant to represent the maximum footprint of the PCB inside of our web shooter. So now we have the bare bones of everything we need to get this web shooter to work, but I'm still not a fan of it. The issue is, as it stands, it's currently asymmetrical. So the nozzle is on the right-hand side instead of being directly in the middle. So what do we do with all this extra space? As a solution, I decided I would expand the size of the reservoir for our nasal spray. So instead of just being this teeny tiny bottle right here, it's all of this. So this is the final version of the web cartridge, and it's basically a T-shape which fills out the entire side of the web shooter. And not only does this new web cartridge allow us to have a symmetrical web shooter, but it also expands our web fluid reservoir from 10mm to 25mm. But more on this later on in the video. So now that we have the final layout of our components, I can finally start working on the PCB I'm going to use for this web shooter. And in the meantime, I'm going to send over my prototype 3D models and schematics to my friend Neon Robotnik, and he's going to 3D model the final version of the web shooter 3D files. The PCB itself is quite simple. All it does is mount the ESP32S3 Mini, which is this tiny microcontroller that controls the electronics, and this TP4056 charging module to recharge the battery. It also has solder pads for the wires coming from the button, which will then trigger the web shooter and the servo itself. It's also got a placement for the kill switch so that we can turn this on and off. And with the electronics finally complete, I went ahead and uploaded the code I wrote for the web shooters to the ESP32, so now all our components are ready to go to be installed in the final version of the web shooter. Speaking of which, Neon Robotnik just sent me the 3D models for the web shooter, so it's finally time to get all of those parts 3D printed out of Silver Silk PLA. And now we can move on to assembly. The assembly is pretty straightforward. There's a bunch of holes on the main chassis meant for M2.5 threaded inserts, so I'll just start by adding all of those. And the first part we can screw into place is the servo in the correct orientation. Then I installed the 18650 battery inside of the battery tray, slotted it into the front half of the web shooter, and screwed it in place. Then I attached the momentary button into the trigger, which was 3D printed out of flexible TPU. And then I used a bit of heat to shape the wire insulation so that I could easily route the wires along the channels built into the chassis before gluing the trigger in place. Then the rest was quite easy. All I needed to do was solder the wires for the button to the PCB along with a USB port for charging, and then attach the linkage to the sled before closing everything up with the cover. And when it came to the straps to actually attach it to my forearm, initially I was going to use watch bands and mechanically attach it to the chassis. But I just couldn't get it to work, so elastics and super glue it is. And lastly, I had to assemble the web cartridges. After a bit of Googling, I was able to find the exact thread dimensions for the nasal spray tip. That way I was able to copy the exact threads for the new cartridges. I also bought a roll of polypropylene filament to 3D print these cartridges, since acetone will damage most filaments over time. And polypropylene, better known for its acronym, PP, is really tough. And PP is able to withstand acetone and most solvents without a problem. But PP does require a bit of care. For example, I had to buy a special build plate to 3D print it with because PP only enjoys sticking to other PP. And on top of that, since the new PP cartridge is a lot bigger than the old one, I also had to replace the tubing inside with some longer ones so that it could properly suck the fluid out. And then it was just a question of gluing the accent pieces on the cartridge, and just like that, we have a complete, functional Spider-Man web shooter. And I even made two so that I could have one for each hand. So let's take them outside the studio and see what they could really do. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I worked really hard on it, and if you have any questions about the build, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. And please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this in the future. Your support means a lot. A huge thank you again to PCBWAY for sponsoring this video as well as the channel, and I really hope to see you guys in the next one.